Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.
Because I'm working night shifts, and it's pretty rare that people are awake. So when I'm looking at my phone in between, doing jobs, and I see messages from you, I'm like, well, what the heck?
Yeah, that's me. I'm the kind of person that is like seriously driven. Like some people are driven, and some people, and I just have to think too. Like I said before, some people are not. I always try to tell people that I don't like people that are driven somehow judging people that are not driven.
Right. It's all just
I don't like in that class shit.
Yeah, that's right.
That is my anarchist. Like everything that deals with start labeling and classing people is that.
I always find that I'm really super, like I'm kind to others. I give them the grace that they need. And, other people are, whatever you can get done, you can get done. But as soon as I don't fulfill like an 18-hour work day, I'm like, oh God, I failed today.
Well, I don't feel that way. I wouldn't say that.
No.
No,
Well, that's good. That's healthy.
Yeah, I'm a little healthier than that. No. What I feel not good is when I can't do something for a day or 2 or 3 days
Oh
because of
yeah.
like PTSD or some kind of emotional thing is going on. That irritates me because
Right.
because I feel out of control. So the feeling is not
Yeah.
it's not about achieving work. It's that, man, I can't even be in charge of my own mind, and that pisses me off.
Yeah. No, that's understandable.
So, I mean, that's why people understand. I mean, even though a lot of times I act really good, and I probably act like I don't have PTSD or I'm a sociopath most of the time, because I'm a smart person and I'm a caring person at the same time. Because, well, one of the benefits too probably is that I'm genderqueer, being in a sense male and female. My thinking, I don't act that's normal probably for either of them, male or female, kind of. But it's also weird too because to me I feel like they're the two extremes, and
Right.
it could have been also that both had PTSD from, in a sense, a life of abuse. But I feel like one's like a barbarian, would just do almost anything. It just doesn't have any care for anyone. And then I feel the other one's like this feminist, lesbian that can't even stand men. And yet they're both in my same head. It's like, oh God, even sometimes my own thoughts, I go,
Yeah. I think anybody who at some point like starts to understand feminism and the patriarchy starts to feel that way, whether they're genderqueer or not. Like when sometimes when women are saying like kill all men, I'm like, yes.
Well, yeah, I would. I don't agree with that. But I would say that when to blame violence appropriately, like in other words, if I think about this, because I told you before, all crime and a lot of issues to me, we labels all kinds of stuff as really mental health issues. And I
Right.
don't mean that as how the right does it. Right says mental health is in a cop out that, see, we're not responsible because it's a mental health.
Exactly.
It's their
Yeah.
problem. If they weren't crazy, it would be fine. So we don't
Right.
have to help anyone. Yeah, no, I mean mental health isn't. There's an issue that if we deal with the mental health, the issue almost goes away. That
Right.
is what
Yeah.
I mean. I mean, is that if we actually help people like me, I got 20 years of counseling. It's not like I magically went sociopath and then gloriously did human. What? No.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm saying, so the mental health. So to me, whenever like someone's oppressed and we don't see it, it's our own, in a sense, denial. And
Yeah.
I have an art where I say denial is an addiction. And I mean that as in universal.
Right.
We love denial. I mean, we like glorify and worship denial. We cannot wait for it to come. It's our way. Because, I mean, we just do not like facing the truth. Because most of the time, the truth means we have to change. Or that
Yeah.
how we like to do things might be wrong. That's like people always go, well, Damien, don't you like capitalism and having, living in America? I'm like, yeah, and I always think, where'd this bottle of ketchup come from? I was talking to some guy, he was buying me a free meal. No
Okay.
offense to that guy. He's a great guy. And it's just, he asked me a question, and I said, here's how Damien thinks, which I don't tell everybody all the time because it would seem offensive to be, like almost like that
Of
one.
course.
Because you can be too much, but it is how I think, just so you know. I do think this way. We were sitting there waiting for the food coming. He was saying, isn't it great that I can buy this meal, whatever? Because I had done a presentation. So I also had done something. So it wasn't just you giving me a free meal.
Right. Right.
I like to always correct people when they say things that, actually, I didn't. There's me being kind again. I actually didn't correct him because my real thought was, you actually are not doing me a favor. I gave you an hour presentation and I drove an hour and a half down here. We'll drive an hour and a half back on my dime.
And you're buying me lunch. I think.
Yeah, right. You buy. So my point was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging that either. I think it's
No,
great
that's
that you
right.
did that. I'm just making the comment that we were sitting there and he was saying that, and I was thinking, yeah, how people.
Neither of
say
us
things.
did anything for nothing in this situation.
Yeah, I'm like, now when people just randomly give me money or something, that would be different. But that's not what happened. But anyways, I don't care. I always think deeper than when people like say things and think. I feel like a lot of times most of society just like goes on the surface, and I'm like
Yeah.
way down at the bottom of the ocean, man, like it's scuba gear. Anyways, so we were sitting there waiting, and he asked me like something, isn't it great that he can give, help me with the meal? And my first thought was that this isn't help. This is a payback for me doing something for you. Anyways, and then I thought, yeah. And then I did actually talk out loud. I said, oh, and let's look at this bottle of ketchup. Because that's what I think. I think as we're sitting here, how many people are not going to get a meal today? You are going to give me one for free. But how many people need a free meal and are not going to get one? And am I really in such need? Could I not miss breakfast and I may be okay? How many people are going to miss the entire day of food? I think about that. I said to this guy, and you can see he was already darkening, like, Damien, I'm trying to be nice. And I'm like, yeah, but Damien wants to be real. And you ask Damien a real question. Don't ever do that unless you want a real answer. In other words, my point is, I don't just randomly walk up to strangers and go, hey, blah, 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 and start just spouting shit. But if somebody comes up to me and asks me something, you're probably going to get the truth.
Yeah, actually, that's comparable to, like, I was just thinking the other day about this hunger strike that people were doing on Canada Day, quote unquote Canada Day, because we were canceling Canada Day, and it's people were doing a hunger strike to honor the Indigenous children that were killed in residential schools. And I was thinking, like, I'm a person who, like, if I don't eat in 3 hours or 4 hours, I start getting grumpy. I start, losing my cool in a lot of ways. Like, and I can feel my stomach feels like it's eating itself because I'm so used to having food in there. Mm-hmm. And just imagine, like, people who, there's lots of people who don't have the luxury that I have, the luxury of having food all the time. And it's just like, so yeah, a hunger strike is, solidarity in that way, with a variety of causes and a variety of people.
Yeah, well, and I think that doing things like I'm not against all anarchist actions that some people would see as public disturbance, or even if it involves damage of property. I'm not for damage of people unless the people are doing self-defense or their defense. But other than that, but damage of property, I have less care. But because it's not people. But I'm not saying I'm pro damaging stuff. I'm just saying that I have less care that is an issue. Then okay, sometimes shit happens. I mean, I don't throw it. And anyways, but I would, if I was out there, I would say don't do it. So I'm not saying that I'm definitely against it. But there's ways that we can be doing things. It's just like there's a thing I always say to people, like, I'm a mutualist. So, and how I approach some of the things, just so I can explain real quick, but people doesn't have to understand all the things about anarchism, and I certainly have not read or listened to, as you know, all the things about mutualism. It's just the basic principles I already get. First off, it's natural in the environment. So it is not an addition. It's a realization. That's what it is. Mutualism is a realization that nature does this already. There's plenty of animals that actually benefit each other and help each other. In fact, and there's even been, I can't remember if it was monkeys or baboons, that actually started working with, I can't remember if it was coyotes or wolves, to somehow get some food or do something. Or they were like protecting them so they could get food. It's something weird, but it benefited both of them. So they started actually like almost they were like raising them. It's like crazy. But it just goes back to me thinking that I always say to people, we rise by helping each other. And I realize that it's that mutualist thinking. We have this capitalist thinking, which is that I need to make sure I'm okay.
Right.
Fucking don't care about anyone else. But imagine a million people doing that. I already sound scary just thinking about a million people around you all only caring about themselves. That is just...
Yeah, that's that neoliberal individualism, right? Like it's rather than cooperating and thinking in a collective sense, it's every person for themselves, and we all got to compete for everything. It's actually the opposite of nature, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Nature benefits mutually. I mean, and we just like I tell people, we don't realize that people like say, oh, like the Neanderthals were stupid or something. They say this a lot. But I wanted to tell you that what they were stupid in is not the things people think.
Right.
What they were stupid in is they were individualists. They stayed in groups of 7, 14. You know what we
Right.
liked? 50, 300. Who do you think took the women? The 300 or the 8? Or, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And Neanderthals also did something different than we did. They did not respect their females. There's a lot of abuse, it seems, to them. But
Okay.
some of the early humans had that too. But
Of course.
but the other issue is tons of incest. So they were fucking hurting their own family, molesting
Right.
them or whatever. So they're sexual and aggressive and socially isolate behavior. I don't know. It sounds like capitalism to me, but or certainly what capitalism seems to glorify. Like that we should somehow reach that. Yeah, well, they died off. You do
Yeah.
realize that, right?
That's right.
Well, that behavior, let me tell you something, is not conducive to human well-being, just as much as it was not conducive to the well-being of the Neanderthals. They isolated. Another thing, let me tell you something that the Neanderthals would do because of this problem. Just so it's similar to sort of bullshit I'm trying to explain of why we need to share ideas. That because they did not share technology universally as much as humans did, they actually developed slower, or they would isolate. Like one area would be super advanced, while these other areas are like back in the start age, and they're not, in a sense, working or helping each other. Or sometimes there's interacting, but I'm just saying that they were way more, in a sense, segregated way long time ago than we did when we first started that behavior. Like, just so people understand, like there's a thing called the Orcanation culture. It starts with an A. I don't know how to pronounce it probably correctly, but anyways,
Okay.
like whatever. I know they're all about it, although I can't pronounce these things. But they consider, but people say a lot of times Cro-Magnon. What they
Okay.
really means, just so you know, generally is it means people in Europe
Okay.
that have now left the African continent that are Homo sapiens or whatever. They call them Cro-Magnons. I don't call them that. I call them organizations because that's what, in a sense, the anthropological. Because once you look that up, you'll have all kinds of information about their culture, their diet, their food, their religion, their everything. I mean,
Okay.
you can actually study because they don't call it Cro-Magnon. That's like a first off, that's like an old term. Second thing is
Right. Yeah. Like say.
it's because it would actually be, I think, at least 2 cultures, maybe even 3, which is all anthropological cultures that you can study and understand like I do, and then be able to say shit about religion like I do, that you know facts because I know the cultures, not just random group of humans. It's like
Right.
Cro-Magnon is like saying
Yeah.
Orcanations, the Gravitans, or the Great Gravitans, or something like that, and then the Magdalenians cultures are 3 of the biggest powerhouses in Europe. One is from 40,000 to 20,000. One is from like probably about 35 or 36 to about 18 or maybe even 12,000, depending on how you rate that culture. Kind of changes a little bit, but then the Magdalenian is like from about 20, 22, goes down to probably about 12 also. Because see, 12 is when, to me, paganism starts. For me, 12 is when sedentary behavior starts. 12
Okay.
is when the agricultural revolution explodes. 12 is, or 11 something, is about 500, whatever, is about when Göbekli Tepe, that, first temple in the world, in a sense, human-built temple. But so a lot of this stuff is all related in a sense. So I understand it because I understand the culture. This did this, did this, did this, this.
Right.
My point I was going to say is that people don't understand, like later, like how the Neanderthal behaved was very small. Like their group, even though they would have, like, say, the Western or the Eastern or the people in, say, the Levant, which is Israel and stuff, but they didn't interact the way that humans interacted, shared ideas. So that, like I said, they would stay isolated. And then the thing that we're different as since the Neanderthals, we're more feminized. In other words, we take, in a sense, younger, frailer, sort of. What I mean by younger, I mean like retarded development.
Okay.
In a sort of like they are the full masculine man in a sense. Like no matter what we think is the masculine man, their like basic man was more masculine almost than, In other words, what I mean by that is like a chimpanzee, right? Their strength, like whatever, even though their arm looks like smaller than some people, it's like 10 times is what you'd think of. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
they're like massively strong.
Yeah.
And it's that I mean, that's what I mean is they were way more in a sense testosterone, masculine, brutish, sort of thing. Not that they weren't smart, they were also smart. So I mean, and I'm not saying they didn't have emotional lives, and because they were
Of course.
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're humans. I'm not trying to unhumanize them. I'm just saying that compared to us, and that's not me saying it, 50,000 years ago, which is to where I say totemism happens, and then you start seeing social behavior, ethical behavior being added to things, like the fact that about 40,000 for sure, you see that all of a sudden there's way less in the human population, way less inbreeding, like massive
Right.
drop, and then it keeps dropping. So all of a sudden, their social behavior is being constructed. That's why we know it's it, or I am presuming that to know that it's totemism, because it's some sort of because totemism has like sacred and profane. But that's why, like in a sense, an animist cares about. So this get back to the green anarchism, because
Right.
an anarchist, right, to me is almost an animist in their thinking about how they work in, or should think, or what I would presume they think, if I better say it, or presume most anarchists think. They don't realize it, but if you listen to like how an African animist with no totemism thinks, you're like, that's anarchist. I mean, that's socialist. Right. I mean, it sounds. You're like, well, yeah. I mean, you don't even have to change much. You're like, just take the superstitions out, done. I mean, it's almost perfect. Society, you don't even have to do anything. Just basically just take out superstition, and society is cool. I mean, it's
nice.
I mean, it's amazing. But it goes back to the totemism. So totemism adds all these things, but it also does, like I said, it does remove, I believe, a lot of the incest. So it's not like it was. So it adds a thing that starts classifying stuff, which I think starts adding class, and that to me adds a problem.
Right.
And they also said sacred profane, which is a class of this is better, this is no good, which I also do not like.
Right.
Because it goes back even like the bugs, like vegans will go, oh, you need to care about veganism. And I'm thinking, an animist does already, cares about everything, and yet they still eat meat. Because they would look at the environment and go, yeah, everything, fish eats other fish. Everything, I mean,
right.
Some insects eat meat. Some plants eat meat. So it's not complete denial of the someone eating meat, I think, is the issue. But the ethical problem is, if you're going to say it's ethical, you can't then kill bugs. Because if you say every life matters, and then I go, well, okay, well, how come you fumigate your house and kill all those termites? Why don't you gather up all those termites and put them outside somewhere? I mean, you could do that.
Oh, yeah, in theory.
Right? I personally wouldn't, because to me, my rule is anything that starts attacking me personally or my personal space is now. But I don't like ants. If ants come in, I know that you don't have to kill ants. You just put whatever they want back outside. They go back outside. I mean, you don't have to kill one ant. So I try to never kill ants. And that goes back to my thing is I try not to kill anything, which is very animist. They would be like, of course, why would you kill?
Right.
Because that is, but their thinking would be probably because that's one of our brothers, or they. Yeah, to me, I would say it's a life. It's a dignity being. I don't think brother, sister, because I feel like it's a bunch of classes. Because then there's someone doesn't fit that, or who cares? They are a dignity being. Period. They are. What I mean by that is they're an aware being that has a sense of both suffering and self. I can't. And then as one vegan said to me, well, but they don't have a face. I'm like, so then we don't have to worry about bees. We can keep taking honey, because you say that we're stealing the bees' labor. But that means that you care about the bee, right? Because if you don't care about the bee as a being, like I say they are, then how do we steal their labor? They're not a being, are they not? So it's like taking it from tree sap, if it's not a being.
Right.
But if it is a being, which you say it is, okay, fine. I have no problem, seriously, like I already told you, because to me, an ant, everything that has feeling, I don't believe microbes, because I don't think that they're aware about themselves. they're just interacting their environment. But I mean, but things that are aware, I think that those you cannot deny. I think it's denial. We want to somehow have this denial that thing doesn't feel. Yeah, I can't. I know it does, and that bothers me. But sorry, I've got about bees. So they only have bees. Okay, fine. But then that means all insects. You can't like just pick the
Right.
insects that you fucking like.
Yeah,
That somehow
exactly.
do something you think is needed, but it's not even needed, because if you can't take the honey, then it's not needed for us. You're just saying we shouldn't do anything to bother animals, right? I mean,
Which is fine. It reminds me actually of like some of the indigenous cultures in Canada. Like they're very animist centric like that. Like they believe in relations with nature and animals and trees and all the things, not a classification of one over another, but like a mutual care and respect for all things.
Oh, definitely. Well, first off, just so everyone knows that, and you, I think, may have already heard it before, but I don't know. I know a lot of stuff I don't tell you. I show stuff and I don't explain. So, animist is everybody, everyone in the world. Okay, everyone in the world who has a belief other than their own personal mind invented animism, because there's some people have that. But everyone that doesn't have that has some kind of conception where they pick it out of someone else's idea, you're an animist.
There you go.
And animism goes back to 100,000 years ago in Africa, and it's still in Africa. There's a few cultures, that very few, but there's like 4 or 5 or 6 cultures that are animist in a sense I consider are close to animist only. And there's reason why I think that. But anyways, and how they behave is different. And so once you get totemism, it's still, though, it's really after paganism. Early paganism even is still, everything is animist. But this also is different. They have different levels of animism by culture, not by like. So if I say someone is a totemist, that doesn't mean you know a totemist. In other words, there's individual totemism. Now you already know this. Here's an interesting fact, because I think you should understand this. Only men, in a sense, are the progenitors or whatever of individual totemism as a general rule. But in group totemism, generally it's women.
Okay.
You start to hear, oh, wait a minute, everybody matters. It's female, and only I matter. It's more male. Does that sound like we're hearing a theme? Now, what do you think is generally does more molesting of their children is actually the individual? Because your individual, your children are actually could be disconnected from you clan-wise, which I don't personally understand.
Okay.
But that is the concept. So in a sense, them, in a sense, having sex with their children would not be incest. In some cases.
Right.
And first off, I'm not saying that they go and justify it and go have sex with a kid. I'm just making a comment that how some of the stuff is set up, you can see where errors in behavior could be super easy. They're almost
right.
Or the door is cracked, so they're allowed, or
it's easy to justify it after the fact.
Like capitalism. The ocean's on fire. It's not a bad thing. We were just trying to help everybody have cars.
Right.
So yeah, to remove responsibility. Just like bosses. Hey man, I'm just doing what I'm told. Right. And that person does who they're told. And at the top, we know there's this asshole that tells everybody to make sure that nobody matters. It must be, because if they mattered, they would have better insurance, that they would have, better work days and better work equipment, and they would have better everything. But they don't. That's why, like Richard Branson or someone said they like to treat people how they like to be treated. I go, that is such horseshit. Here's this fucker is flying himself to the fucking moon or whatever, and doesn't want to pay the employees like benefits that are like amazing. I mean, if he would pay himself amazing.
Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to treat people the way you'd want to be treated, then you would definitely have millionaire, billionaire employees, right?
They certainly would be the happiest employees on earth. They would think they were in some magical land.
Yeah, that's right.
right? But they don't. So, hey,
But oddly enough,
strange.
yeah.
Maybe a few at the top are
Well, what he
benefiting
means
from the
actually,
crushing of the rest.
he doesn't mean like in a material sense. He means like he thinks people should be polite to him.
It reminds me that I know. That's like I did one time. There was a meme. He said something. It wasn't even that big of a deal, or that I was that offended by what he said. Just seeing his freaking face smiling, and then saying some stupid horse shit. It just I can't help it sometimes. It made me angry, and I drew a thing across his face. It just
Yeah.
mad. It wasn't even. I didn't even have like a reason. I was just trying to control myself, but I just pissed. I
think it's fair to be pissed at billionaires
and looking down at us for supposedly not having some great intellectual mind like you and able to think on the ponderings of the world. You know, dude, if I had a bunch of time, dude, I got a pretty good mind. I could think of a lot of good shit.
Oh, but yeah.
I have to spend time reading fucking about bullshit ass religion history that I don't really favor.
Yeah.
But go ahead. So I wanted to say, the world is fucking going to hell, it looks like, which is, I feel bad and good, because bad that it's happening, but good that people are seeming to fucking pay attention to the burning.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's one of those things. It's hard to balance that doomer versus positive type attitudes, right? Like, I know people are suffering. I know people are going to continue to suffer, and that really sucks, and I don't know what to do to change it. But we can't let that defeat our views and defeat our motivation to try and change things, right?
Well, yeah, because I think there's a thing called toxic positivity, which I'm actually not for. I'm not for fake. Don't tell me it will be okay tomorrow. Bullshit. Tell me it's going to be fucking hard, but you'll be there for me. That's or some whatever. But sometimes it seems like just the finest little thing, but yeah, that's the difference in calling someone a racist name and not a racist name. So little things do matter.
Yeah.
Well, go back to the mutualism. So one thing I always tell people that, okay, fine, let's assume that I can't get my glorious world that I want, right? I think we can't, but let's just say I can. Right? And we have to suffer under this fucking tyranny that we have now. I'm like, this tyranny could be less oppressive. Just saying. And it wouldn't even affect the tyranny. That's what I'm like, it's not even, I'm not even fucking with you guys. I'm just saying there's little tiny tweaks and we all could suffer less. That's it.
Yeah,
I go, go, whoa, what could we do? I go, it won't even cost you any money. This is the greatest thing in the world, right? Every federal building in every government in every place in the world, to me, they always put plants and trees and bushes, right? Don't they? I mean, because they want to glorious and show how fucking wonderful and everything.
Right. It's got to be aesthetically pleasing, right?
That all should be free food.
Yeah.
There should be fucking food producing plants only. Nothing but fucking food producing. And they go, oh, but if we do that, that'll bring a bunch of people. I'm like, oh, how terrible will that be? They can fucking take free food if they're starving.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not like I said before on the other show that I had eaten food that had been sprayed by fucking pesticide or Agent Orange or whatever the fucking Roundup or whatever it is.
Roundup,
whatever, some crap. Of course I didn't technically taste, get the stuff tested for what exactly shit I just ate, but some kind of poison crap because I felt sick and something was wrong with it. But but not stuff that's not. In other words, what we're saying is that not only do you do food producing plants, you then don't do shit to them that makes it so they're toxic and unable to be edible to people.
Yeah.
So then they go, oh well, but the food will fall and that will cause I go, oh, so you're saying no one will come and get free food?
Well, that's wrong.
First off, that doesn't sound right to me at all. So first off, you say that there's no way we can solve this without tons of money, and I'm like, there is. Let me just give you one. I got tons, but let me just give you one. It's simple. Change all your plants out to fucking food producing. Then they go, oh, but who's gonna maintenance? I go, oh, I'm sorry. So you have all these trees now that you don't maintenance?
That's right. Nobody takes care of them now.
Oh, you mean you don't want to use your capitalist dollars to give anyone something for free? Is what you really have a problem with, right?
Yep.
Because you're already grooming those fucking trees, right? Anyway, seriously, you're in front of your great, imperialist buildings. You don't care about them being groomed and bushes? Seriously? I've been to ghettos.
Just as long as they don't give food to people.
Yeah, see but it's so interesting to me is because I'm willing to. Some anarchists, I feel like they're what they require of others to come so far to our side in their thinking, right?
Yeah.
Without letting them take baby steps. That's what I do. I demand you to start moving left. And I'm just going to keep pulling you a little bit more.
Yeah, it's tough because once you've done all the work to get where you are in thinking, it's like, okay, so why aren't other people here, right?
Dude,
but then,
how do you think I feel?
But then you have to recognize that people haven't done the work yet, and they haven't even had the introduced to them yet in a lot of ways. Like
you have to be compassionate.
Yeah, that's right. Like even talking to people who they just don't even realize the word anarchist doesn't mean chaos still. Like so.
Well, I know I'm doing some good work on LinkedIn. You better believe that.
Oh, good.
Because I'm selling my anarchism to a whole bunch of people, and they're starting to get it. Even anthropologists and archaeologists, they're starting to like my stuff, and they're starting to get it because I'm explaining the why. And this is why I feel like sometimes, like I've seen before, where an anarchist says, "No borders, no banks," right? And I've seen a video one time where someone walked up and said, well, what is it you want? Or what do you mean? And he goes, I'm not explaining myself to you, you capitalist pig. And I thought, wow, we fight so hard to be noticed. And then the time that you get a chance to fucking explain to someone, you fucking tell them to go fuck off?
Right.
I'm like, oh, dude, that's not what we need to be doing.
Yeah,
There's the one chance you go, I would like to tell you. So, and I would
I was just going to say, like that's when you go, okay, do you want to have a cup of coffee? Let's go have a cup of coffee because this is going to take more than 2 seconds on the street.
Right. Well, true. That's true. But here's the thing too. We need to stretch to where it can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's why I keep, and I know I'm not saying every anarchist is following my way. But if you follow my way, it's better. No. but anyways, because mine is Anarcho-Humanism. That is my style. And it's always focusing back on the ethics. Always focusing back on the whole. Not on me.
Right.
Because it's too easy for us to go, yeah, well, I know everything. Fuck everyone else. And believe me, I can feel that way. Because I do know a lot more than a lot of people. But by most people. But I don't do that. Because that is, first to me, toxic. And I always think, what is my goal? See, and that's what I mean by I say I like anarcho-humanism, because my goal always goes back to very simple. Someone asks me in the street, Damien, what's your goal? I say, my goal is the same as it's always been. I want to be a good human. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is you should be able to say something that will go and resonate with them, and they think, fuck. And then I ask them, do you think you are a good human?
Right.
I'm telling you, man, so that takes, and I know, I agree with you in the fact that you could have a cup of coffee and do great. But I'm not saying no cups of coffee. I'm just saying I feel, but that's because I once again, being an anarcho-humanist, I focus on humanism, not just somehow radical leftism. The radical leftism is my understanding of the need and the problem.
Right.
It's not that my behavior is radical leftism. I'm not throwing fucking Molotov cocktails or some crazy shit What I'm doing, though, mentally is worse than that. I'm doing nuclear bombs on people. So it's way more powerful than these throwing out in the street. You can throw 10 bottles, but I can change 10,000 minds at the same time online. And you can do it too. Whenever you have a moment, that's all I'm trying to say is that people, a lot of people like me that are normal people, right? What I mean by
Right.
normal people is I mean non-anarchists, non-leftists,
Yeah.
non-anti-capitalists. I mean, I'm like, I always laugh too because I remember talking to David Silverman and he said I was too extreme as an atheist.
Right.
This is David Silverman saying this. Because I said the word
Back in his writing books about fighting God days.
Yeah. Well, and I actually talked to him when he was very famous for that book. So that's when I was talking to him.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was telling me about atheism, and I was telling him about my views of all the other stuff. And then I was challenging him because he was talking about going to one real quick note about it, real quick. So we were talking at one time, and I argued with him because he's kind of a centrist, and obviously I'm a far leftist. And I started hitting him with stuff, and he started like feeling shameful about that, not being more leftist. Which I don't think. There's a thing. I don't try, like I told you before. I don't try to sell anarchism. I try to explain reality, and I don't understand how you don't also come to this conclusion.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Anarchism. Like I had one friend who didn't like that I say that we could own ourselves as anarchists, but it's a concept. This thing is a dignity being. It's not just a real thing like out in the world called a dignity being. It's a mental concept to help us grasp how to behave, because it gives us a social awareness. When I say that an ant is a dignity being, like a child's dignity being, or a dog, I start realizing that I need to then operate in the world different than I've been behaving.
Right.
See,
Right.
so mental concepts. So when I say own myself, I'm not talking about capitalist sense that somehow figured out a percentage or, somehow that humans are a transactional. What the fuck? I'm not talking that. I'm saying as a mental concept for us to understand how to properly behave ethically.
Right.
So because I'm a value theorist, an axiologist, so I care about how we value things because I know what we value will become our morality, our behavior, our everything. If you change your values, change your life. If tomorrow, even if someone's a capitalist, right? Tomorrow they changed their values about capitalism and became an anti-capitalism, would they not be completely different as an anti-capitalist than they were before?
Yeah.
Just as value changed. I mean, they didn't become a different human being.
Right. But yeah, their behavior is going to change based on the values that they espouse
Or it
now, right?
should. And if it
You're right.
doesn't, then you're having this contradiction.
Yeah.
Which also, of course, happens a lot. And,
Yeah.
and including me. I mean, I would love to be some kind of purist in every single thing I do, but I also suffer from this thing called being fucking human.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
in fact, I have this poem called Only Human. You have more strength than me, and see you standing tall, see you bravely went through it all. You look so big, and I feel so small. But then I noticed you had fear too. You sometimes questioned just what to do. Sometimes you felt sad, lonely, or afraid. What do you know? You're only human. I too can have good and bad days, because I too am only human. But actually, it's so funny because people always think that's about me. It's actually me talking about how other people perceive me. People constantly tell me, I bet you don't realize how much you affect me, but I'm like, yes, why do you think I'm doing activism for free for 15 years? Yes, I realize. You know when I realized it's not you? It was high school. It was high school with racists that I
Right.
actually didn't even want to talk to and didn't even like. And I did stuff, and then I walked by. It was in art class, and I was doing a 7-foot by 11-foot painting. Let's go back to mutualism, and also about kindness, about how kindness changes people like nothing else. That I realized is wit in freaking 17. So I walked by this racist, and he was doing a 4-foot painting, all this Nazi fucking hideous
No, geez.
bullshit. I was just like, oh my god. But then I thought, well, if you want to do that, there's a way you could paint that better. And he looked at me like, what the fuck? Because he knew
Right.
I fucking hated
He's looking,
that.
looking
We were
for
like
a different
friends,
reaction
you
than
know what I'm
that.
saying? He thought I was trying to fight him and shit. But I was just trying to be nice. That your painting fucking sucks. So if you want to paint some shit, let me tell you something. Don't do that. I said, come here, look at, watch it. And I showed him, look, watch. And here's my painting. I said, here, grab the brush. I said, paint my painting. And I said, no, do more. And he goes, I'm scared. I said, just do the thing. Here, do it. And then so all of a sudden, I had him painting this certain area. And then he went back and he started painting his painting. Never talked to me again. Like a week later, see, he starts dressing a little bit different. But then because, I didn't pay attention that much. But then, as the weeks go on, he was a skinhead, right? I at the time, I used to comb my hair backwards, right?
Okay.
And like greased it up and combed it back with gel or whatever. Anyways, and all of a sudden, he starts growing a little bit of hair. I thought, well, that's odd. Maybe he's not getting a haircut, But I don't really talk to him or anything, so I'm not paying attention. And he's got like 5 other guys that they hang out with, like, a group of fucking these Nazi skinheads or whatever. But all of them start dressing the same. I think, oh shit, they're making a gang. Because that would be where I'm from, that would have been the norm. And I thought, oh
Right.
shit, maybe I have to pay attention that something bizarre has happened. They're letting their hair grow out. Now they're fucking dressing, dark clothes and stuff or whatever clothes, they're kind of similar to something, they're copying, they're doing something. You know what they were doing? They were copying me. Seriously. I didn't even know that. All of a sudden, like, I don't know, it was a month or something. I can't remember exactly how long, 2 months. I started realizing they almost following me to fuck around. And I thought, that goes, I always think negative. I thought, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to fight all these
You're going to fight me?
Yeah, I'm going to fight all these dudes. He's probably pissed that I told him about, the art or some shit,
Yeah.
And so I went up, because of being the crazy fuck that I am, I went up and challenged them because I keep seeing something going on, and I see they're like, when their hair the same and shit and dressing the same, and I'm like, hey, what the fuck is up with you guys looking like this? And they go, you noticed? And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I noticed. You're fucking skinhead. And all of a sudden you're fucking combing your hair back. What the fuck is going on? You guys joining a gang or something? And he goes, no, man, we're trying to be like you. And I was like, what the fuck?
Not what I was expecting.
I mean, it was like just fucking shocking to me. I mean, and then, like I told you, in the drug rehab before that had happened, that one counselor had been nice to me, and that changed me. Not being mean, but her actually saying, I can see your position. I can feel you, and being, and just being kind. And actually, I could have been put away in a mental hospital, and then she said, I'm not going to do that because I don't think that's a problem. I think you're just angry, and everyone keeps fucking with you, and so you keep reacting. And I was like, yeah, that's how I feel too. But it was the kindness. So really young, those 2 things, seriously strong. One from my own self, personally, realizing someone being kind to me made me want to change. In a way that the force, the threats, they even putting me in prison or mental hospital, they didn't stop. But someone being kind, just super kind to me and really caring about me. And I mean kindness, not like some people like just kind and then walked away. Like, drop a quarter for a bum and walk away or something, or a homeless person over. No, I mean caring about the person. Like, say, if a homeless person. Remind me one time, I wanted to give $40 to this homeless person. I just felt, I had some money. I'm just gonna walk up and give them money. And I've done that before. I just they're not even begging. I know they need help. And I said, look, I'm just give you money. I don't even care. I just want to give it to you. I said, and I also just want to talk to you. Like, hey, where are you going? Where'd you come from? You don't know why? Because you know what I love doing? Something I like. I love making people that feel like nothing feel like something. And that makes me feel good. Yeah. In fact, I talked to this one guy that was saying that he had gone and slept under the bridge and stuff, but he said that no one had ever even asked him like what his experience was. So they just ignore me. So it's worse than, a sense, not being cared about. He doesn't even feel like he's even part of society. He's like just like something outside of. And I just, man, what a dehumanizing. And then we wonder why do they have an attitude, or why? That's why I said to to my wife, I think they should give out marijuana because, I mean, they're already suffering. Just the fact of being out there and then having a society that we have that is just this inhuman. I mean, it's like you would never see. And this is what I think is interesting, too, real quick, about animal society, right?
Okay.
So 2 things. A is that in animal society, we would never see someone, in a sense, being not fed, no matter if they were even injured or whatever. No one would have to, like, make sure that, everyone would make sure, in a sense. They would make sure that person is taken care of. But here's the other thing is, us as a society, even as capitalists, right, that are so selfish, not about me personally, but I'm saying society, it's Western society, capitalists, would look on them with anger if they didn't take care of one of their people. Well, we do it all the fucking time. It doesn't bother them at all. In fact, they'd be like, who cares? The homeless should fucking stop being homeless. At least do it somewhere else, like another country.
So I don't have to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with it, actually. Or like I've seen before where they made them wear like little vests, little like, so they don't get hit by a car. But I thought, wow, it's hard. They have to work. They're like workmen or something.
Right, yeah.
It just
now,
I'm like, how about the law we just give people food? They don't have to beg. Wouldn't that be freaking better?
That's right. Yeah. The one of the things that stuck out to me about your story about the skinhead, is that you didn't have to placate him about his beliefs. You didn't have to pretend that his ideas were good. You just had to be kind in a, in almost a distracting way that's unrelated, and just show him that
because you know what I did? I just treated him like a dignity being. Yeah. I didn't treat him like a brother or whatever. I just treated him like someone who had value. Which is what I'm trying to say. If we do this, that's why people think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, I welcome religious people all the time. There's a certain level of people on the right that I will not welcome. Bigots and shit, I won't. But just because you're, in a sense, a capitalist, I'm not your enemy. But if you're a bigot, I'm your enemy because I can't stand that shit. But that's a different issue because, once again, now you're actively freaking promoting the harm of people. And I still feel capitalism is, but that's more of a generalized thing that I would put more blame on the billionaire class than I would on almost anybody else that's really into capitalism. Even if they're a manager, you're still getting crushed. You just are. Some of the benefits of not being as crushed.
And like managers often, they buy into the system more, but that doesn't make it less oppressive on them, really.
Totally. Or their kids. Let's just say that they do totally well. Now they're worried about their children, and so I'm saying there certainly is a level. Like, look at Donald Trump's children. They feel like they own the world. So there's a difference that when you get to a certain level of, rich, where you're not afraid for your kids. Yeah, I'm not afraid at all. In fact, the whole world could probably go to hell, and you would still be okay. So that level of, and that's why I also don't like hearing personal advice for those kind of assholes. You have no care in the fucking world. All of America could go into fucking bankruptcy. You would just walk over to fucking China or whatever, or walk over wherever. And so it doesn't matter. And that's so to me. That's why I also like, let's say, a communist country like China. Well, I don't feel like it's fully communist personally to me, but it is how I would understand what it should be. Why the fuck is there a dictator? What the fucking hell? And why is the money not being, in a sense, distributed more ethically to me? Or
they still have a very owner-worker relationship. Within their structure of society, rather than like worker-owned.
but even wouldn't you say that there is a class of people that are the ruling class?
Yeah, there's a separation of classes there for sure.
For me, fuck all that.
There's a lot of. I don't know if you follow much of the left discourse online.
No, I don't. Nothing.
But there is a lot of like back and forth between anarchists and state communists in our discussions about China. And there's a lot of like anarchists are often like very critical of China and very like, hey, it's not great. There's all these problems. And then there's people who are very pro-China who are like, oh, but that's all just Western propaganda. And some of it is, but you can have a nuanced discussion.
I'm not anti-China, and I
right.
also am not anti-communist. Like I said, I don't call myself
Yeah.
communist. I'm an anarcho-humanist. To me, I don't care what else you want to label the things. To me, like I said, it's real simple. It's that in a sense that we have no gods, no masters. That makes me anarchist.
Yeah.
And that is do no harm and do good. That there's a maximum to do that. That's a requirement to be a fucking human. If you're a good human, you fucking help people. That's what makes you a good human.
Yeah,
so to me, right. That's why I like to precision like my thing that.
Yeah, like you can have a nuanced discussion about even a particular policy within a country like China or the US, and you can compare those things and based on your values, but to just be, you know, you can't worship at the altar of the state.
Well, like I said, I don't even worship anarchists. So that's why.
So, yeah.
I always tell people I don't really have a hero. I mean, the closest to me, but my wife definitely, because she's definitely done stuff for me and her own life in general. So it's just fucking amazing. Also, people think my life's amazing. My wife's amazing, but she would have like 2 or 3 hours sleep. She was a single mom, you know, and working jobs and still taking care of her daughter and going to school.
Yeah.
Unreal, man. And the husband was stalking her and abused her, and just like, oh god.
Yeah, it's there's a level a guy like myself, I find it hard to like relate necessarily to the single mother thing because they have to deal with so many things, plus patriarchy, plus workplace oppression. You know,
workplace aggression. She had tons of sexual actions. She had 2 or 3 guys that had to get fired. Like one guy just grabbed her breast. I mean, it's like fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, so yeah, it's horrid. But also what I really see as the hero about her is she did all that and did not lose her innocence. See, I did. I mean, I became sociopath, innocence gone. So I go, you're my hero because you were able to go through. You're the hell, kind of like me, not exactly, but kind of like me. She went through a lot of shit, of sexual abuse and of different kinds of abuse and being belittled. Even her family, when she went to college, they were betting on her failure. I mean, it was this thick, cool. Man. Just, and everybody would always take advantage of her. When I first met her, she's total victim. Now she's not. So when I first met her, she's like, I hate feminists. Oh, she doesn't think that way now. And I'm like, oh, see, I don't think you understand feminism, really. So you don't believe women should be equal? And she's like, well, I do. I go, well, thank you. Now you're now a feminist. I'm like, cause so do I.
Yeah.
I mean, but first off, I find it to be ridiculous that women are even to have to be judged because like you have 95% of violence is male. No, 90% of violence is male, and 95% of sexual violence is male.
Right.
So it's a male problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
like one of the things that like the men's rights activists, they like to say like, oh, but men get abused by female partners or women partners a lot too.
And it's like, okay, female partner.
That happens. Nobody can deny that happens, but feminism also addresses that.
I totally agree. Or how about the fact that when I say that I've been abused as a partner, but a female partner, that people basically don't give a fuck. But if I was a woman that says I'm abused spouse, right? Oh, tons of love, care. And I think that's another patriarchy, that I get no support. I get no care.
Because the patriarchy says that a man who gets abused by his partner is weak and and isn't worthy of our respect. But
right. That you should have stood up for yourself. Oh, I did block her. And then I did push the gun away from my head when she aimed it at me. But what I didn't do is break her fucking hand when I took the gun out.
Yeah.
Or hit her after that. Or do anything other than just take the fucking gun away and go fucking sell it.
Yeah, like
later actually, but not at the time. But
right, not immediately.
not immediately. So I don't want to fucking make the story not incorrect.
Yeah,
Way
no,
later,
fair.
and actually because of me, actually not at the time because of her, which is even more shows sick relationships. I get rid of the guns because actually I was ready to kill her, not so much because she was gonna do something to me, which I should have
That
cared
part of
about
the story.
me. Yeah, see what's wrong with the story already. See what I'm saying about people? But and is it my fault? Is it a victim's fault that they're reacting as a victim?
Never.
I mean, so society is really toxic, and that goes back to like even the environment. Look at our response. The ocean has to be on fire before we even pay attention. And
Yeah.
guess what? It will be barely any news. It'll be
Yeah.
news, and then it'll be gone. Who cares?
Well, it's like it's like you shared the articles with me about people dying because of the heat wave, right?
It's sickening and sad, man. Crime
Yeah.
against humanity from capitalism.
And even the headlines, they almost, the way they word it, makes it sound like this is just a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate act of God. It's yeah, nothing can be done about this.
Yeah, and no one's responsible.
No,
When we
that's
all
right.
know, not only is there people responsible, there is addresses that you can go to find the people who are currently living somewhere and responsible.
Yes, that is a true statement with zero intent behind it.
No, yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm an anarcho-humanist, so I believe in do no harm and do good. So
Yeah.
I'm just making a comment that what I'm saying about an actual place or an actual person, and also not naming names, right? So it's not like I'm picking people out and telling people to go fucking headhunt, fucking billionaires. Don't do that. I'm just saying that easy. No. I don't promote none of that shit. No.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is that we're given like this. I feel too often like this monster it reminds me of God. We can't see it. It's some monster phantom in the dreams. They give this some like climate change, like some monster is waiting to jump out of the bushes and grab us. No! There's capitalists with fucking names that live fucking places that have been fucking the earth. That's why. And the earth is now fucked. Okay? I mean, you don't need to...
Even when we say that it's like 100 corporations produce like this, the majority of greenhouse gases, even when we say that, it's too big. We have to be more, these corporations they have shareholders, they have CEOs, they have people. These are people, human beings that are at the head of these things.
They're on the NASDAQ. People are making money off of these corporations. So they're like, oh, these corporations are bad. Do you make money off them?
Yeah, exactly. Are you investing in the stock market where this is a thing? Are you profiting off of this?
Yeah, profiting off of our destruction of our. But I think that it's really to me it goes back to a moral issue, because any moral people, in fact, they're like, I read a couple articles where they're trying to go back to the like indigenous ways to do things, but I think that. You know what it really is? It's just the anti-capitalist ways to do things. Because like, well, the people just basically let nature be. Or they do, like people do that thing rewilding, which is actually, they're doing a lot of that in England. I have a friend that's like all into that. Doesn't realize that's anarchism. We talked about that shit a long time ago. Go look up green anarchism. Rewilding is there, okay? Go look. So it's not like it was invented by, these, because a lot of people, they always think that all these radical groups that happened like in the 70s, 60s were somehow removed from anarchism. No, they're because of or inspired or at least certainly supported by anarchism.
Right.
Big time. Anytime that you're challenging shit, just like have you ever heard a thing called food, not bombs?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they give out food and stuff. In fact, I've eaten some of their food with the homeless because I've donated food down with the homeless. And unlike some people, I go down there and I'll eat the same thing they're eating. One of those dry half, a burrito. Like one time I was at, that they gave everybody a burrito from Food Not Bombs, but they cut it in half because they didn't have enough for everybody, so they gave everybody half,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a half with everybody else. That
Yeah.
was my lunch too. I'm just saying that, and I spent time to talk to him. I really think that's how me, man. Humanism. I try to make everything that I do personal
Right.
because it is personal. People like when do I do or when you first asked a long time ago about my political views, I just do what's right. I don't think like, oh, this is my political thing, or well, this is what a leftist would do, or I don't think about none of that shit. I just think, what do I need to do to be a good human? How can I help people? What can I do to make things better? Or I see problems. Man, I wonder if I can come up with a solution to make it easier, or to something, or can I find something that will inspire something? Or I do nothing of that. Like I told you before, I just go out and I just make people happy. And I don't always do that because sometimes I'm not feeling happy, but sometimes that helps me feel happy to go out and just make just comment or like or whatever, or support or say things or share memes or do stuff that really benefits just humanity and other people, which also benefits myself.
Yeah.
So, because you were talking about like when people feel like they can't do anything, or it's like all or nothing, which I think like
Right.
ridiculous. Like, do you
Yeah.
realize that if you build anything, you can't all or nothing, like start with nothing and then all of a sudden it's all built. You have to build every single little piece.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta do the work. And I feel
And
like,
changing society is like, it's like building the biggest house.
right.
Like it's so much work. You just got to put it in.
Right, and I feel like a lot of the work that we haven't done is the humanism work. We've done a lot of the radical work. We've been out there and taken people to task. What we need to do a lot more of is the humanism side. Like I said, that's why for me it has to be part of what it is. It needs to be so fucking central that it cannot be forgotten, that it's actually got to be part of the name for me, because it cannot, because I feel like the first thing I feel like is I'm alone and I have needs and I have wants, and other people can fill some of those.
Yeah.
So I need other people, right? And so other people also can use some of my talents to benefit them. So they want me around too. So all of a sudden,
if we do this right, then we're not exploiting each other.
Right. You see what I'm saying? How if you just lie on that, right? But that's why I'm saying about. I feel like we don't have to, in a sense, promote anarchism, or to me, a type of humanistic socialism, because people can have all kinds of different whatever, but a humanistic socialism that cares, because that's possible to me. And not only is it possible, it's the logical conclusion of looking at the stuff. Like I said, if we start with just us, I'm alone and I have needs, and just start, I can support others, and just start doing this little thing, like you said, and certainly, I wasn't going to go to what you said about exploiting yet. I was going to start with that, because once we realize we're with others, we can get and do things. We realize too that I can violate you and you can violate me. That's just something even animals realize this. Right? I mean, this is split second shit. It's not like, but I'm breaking it down. There's a lot of like presuppositions or whatever, lots of really tiny things that we've already accepted to get up to this place. So, like you said, but once we realize other people want us to be hurt, we realize we don't want to be hurt, right? So fuck that shit. And then we realize it wouldn't be right for me also to go hurting other people. Right. And this starts to get us to me in this ethical. And then we start having values because of that. Realizations are not values. Realizations can provide, in a sense, the nourishment to enrich values or whatever, or give you a foundation to build your values on, in a sense, or from. But then just because that's how people go, well, they seem to understand, but they don't care. Yeah, because realization is not the same as having the value change.
It's required, but it's not necessary, or it's necessary, but it's not sufficient.
Well, in other words, I can make a capitalist real as a monster, but if they don't care about being a monster.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because also they would go, but Damien, I don't classify that as a monster because I won't feed anyone but myself, even if I have overabundance of wealth and there's tons of starving people, even ones I may be friends with. that I don't help, right? Even my own friends or my own
That's,
family, because a lot of
that
times they
sounds
don't
like a
even,
monster to me.
right? Right. But you see what I'm saying? To me, that's what my point is. It always should be, but logical, because I feel like that. That's what I'm saying about I don't have to teach anarchism. I feel like if I just explain reality to you of your situation, you just realize, holy shit, that's anarchism.
Right.
Like I said, it's in Africa. You know why? It's natural. It is not an unnatural thing to be an anarchist. That's absolutely wrong. Actually, it's an unnatural thing to be a statist. That's unnatural as fucking hell.
Yeah. Or to be a capitalist, I think like that inherent
Well,
that
to me, those two go together because statism
yeah,
is
yeah,
the foundation that supports capitalism
yeah.
generally. Because let's see, to me, like the problem, one of the problems I would say I feel like in China is you have a capitalist dictatorship running a communist country, and that's why it's so fucking odd and fucked up. But I feel like there's some of and I won't even get into all this shit, but yeah. So in general though, just so people know, I don't go out and try to fight the left. I feel like that in general, me and communists, even the ones that are statists, are not that far off. I
No,
don't
yeah,
like
I
how their
agree.
approach is. I don't like what there seems their values sometimes are placed in the wrong place. To
Yeah,
me,
I agree. I often like I'm in a lot of communist groups because I always thought that, I'm an anarchist. Communists aren't that far off. Like, yeah, we
right?
disagree on some things, but sometimes it the way that state communists act about anarchists is like, I don't know, pretty dismissive, and it can be very annoying and frustrating.
Well, yeah, I feel like that some of them, not all, because I have two friends I know that are both
Oh yeah.
trans. Well, actually, one is the intersex and trans. But um, anyways, beside the point, they're both like geniuses, by the way, which is really weird. I'm like really, really, really brilliant, and then they're both like really. One's like a scientist,
Nice.
and the other one is like studying to become some kind of scientist or something. Like they're just really brilliant people. It just, anyways, but also they're socialists and they're more like communist than I am. They're probably would say they are communists actually. So, anyways, my point is, but at first there was not. I didn't feel like there was a good like. It was not unwelcoming, but it wasn't. I think maybe it's even more wary. But I was thinking, is that them or us? Because I have some anarchist friends that is pretty fucking hardcore
Oh
about
yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and not don't care who the fuck they offend, and constantly they'll burn a fucking communist flag as quick as they'll fucking burn an American flag. The point I'm trying to say is, I always try to think not just because I think there's two ways of since like our perception, like we both wear glasses.
Yeah.
Without glasses, the whole screen just came blurry as shit. I'm like, now I can see things again. So, and I think that's the same thing. Our value lens, our phenomenology is always happening. We're always, in a sense, this value soup we have to try to see through. That's why there's so much errors, prone to errors, because we perceive things through like this emotional perception, which I call there's a word for thing too. They study it, phenomenology. It's like if you look at a picture, like I was telling you before, and you see a mountain scene, you actually feel like you're looking in. It's not just flat because
Right.
your
Right.
phenomenology is reacting to what it's perceiving emotionally or whatever. And that can be true with colors. Just the color green makes you emotionally feel like you're outside or something. Or green and then put a blue stripe. You automatically think water. There's no water. But you automatically thought water. Just because your phenomenology, you're like, oh, water.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and even in fact, if you took it and put an orange dot, you would really think water. You'd be like, sun, grass, water.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
right.
that's why I'm so just love playing with art in this sense because I understand like how the mind thinks and I'm able to do art in a way that's actually fucking with your mind because I like doing that. Because well, especially for my son because it's stimulating. Like you don't realize it subconsciously. It's it's causing like if you put red and blue, it's almost 3D. Even your eyes cannot actually do look at those together, well, it starts blurring. So
Right.
you do stuff and it gives this weird feeling or effect. So I do that a lot to make things look almost like they're glowing. And it's really because I put colors together that I know affects your mind. And so, but people understand everyone's been doing that. It ain't just me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure we got to the green anarchism stuff very much, but my time is up.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Right on. That was great.
Yeah, it was a good talk. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we tried to talk about, the taking care of the environment. That is, and addressing that is green anarchism. I don't feel like it's that we have to,
Right.
personally, once again, I'm not saying that it has to be some humongous ideology we have to accept, other than we are in the environment. Like, we're these people. Like I was saying again, I'm this person. I have these needs. I'm in this environment. I need these other people. But these other people are me, are not like somehow out in space. We're on this planet. Everything that happens affects us. That affects our food, our breathing. Yeah, all of that. Then our environment absolutely is. I don't understand how you could have anarchism and not care about the environment.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
me,
I
so
agree.
I feel like a healthy anarchism should follow green anarchism. It's just like
It should be in it, right? Should all be together.
yeah, duh. Like, what do you mean you don't care about green anarchism? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's right.
Right on.
Well, I guess that'll be it. I suppose to plug my stuff, you can find me at anchor.fm/mind of a skeptical leftist, or anchor.fm/skeptical leftist, or the show is The Mind of a Skeptical Leftist.
Right, and real quick, just because it's going to be on my show, just tell people a little bit real quick about you, because I've been a couple shows. So
yeah, I'm an anarchist, communist. I'm an atheist and a skeptic. I know we have different views of the idea of skepticism here a little bit, but yeah, I try to apply evidence-based thinking to societal issues, and I promote critical thinking and progressivism and left-wing philosophy.
And I think that's great. That's why I like talking to you. And I will see you again.
Absolutely. And we're out.
Right on. That was good, man.
Yeah, it was a really good talk.
And this other thing too is that don't feel like because you don't stick on a topic that you haven't done good, because if it's interesting, that's more important.
That's true. Yeah.
That's like I said about the art. Can I possibly show you everything like my wife did at first when we were doing the art? She's like, you're not going to explain everything. And I'm like, I can't. I can't possibly explain. How in the fuck can I do that? And if I do, you're going to be bored to tears and have to read 6,000 pages. You're never going to do that. It's like reading an anthology. You're not going to do it. I need to figure. My first book was 6,000 pages, and I took it to a book thing, and a book club like thing. And they said, Damien, you
people don't read that big of books.
You can't do that. No, no. That's like 12 books.
Yeah, nobody's reading a 6,000 page book.
But anyway, I'm just making a comment. So I had the whole thing is that I've never I had to try to. That's what I was saying to you about let me explain it the easiest way. You are the product.
Right.
How's that? That's the easiest way I can explain it. It does. All the rest doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like I was saying about kindness, right? Did it matter? All my views didn't matter. What it mattered, it was kind, right? That's all I'm trying to say. It's not that the other stuff matters too. If we say good stuff, that matters too, because my words have changed people. So words matter. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying never forget that beyond words, just Cory being Cory, being kind, understanding, open, honest, willing to accept criticism and willing to give, correction in a humble and a good way, dude, that is dynamite. You don't understand. You're teaching credibility.
That's right.
Yeah, I know it's right. I'm not guessing, dude. I'm
yeah. No, I it's something that I do actually need to remember sometimes, is that like you say, like, it's not necessarily the content all the time that matters. It's the way, it's the person that's doing it. right?
Dude, that matters. Look at, you know that because content would be substance, right? But does Trump have substance? No.
Right. No, he does not.
Lacking substance is almost impossible. It's like
Yeah,
an empty
exactly.
fucking void of no substance.
Yeah.
In fact, his people like champion him. They don't even know what they're championing.
No,
Seriously.
that's right. Yeah.
Because
Like if you
he
ask
has
them,
no fucking cause. He's just
yeah.
help him. That's his cause. Help me, give me money.
Yeah.
It's
Which
like,
is, as a person who has always really focused on the content and been really, easy to dismiss a figurehead if they don't have good substance. It blows me away. Like I actually have trouble understanding it.
but that's what I'm trying to help you understand right now, Cory. You being quality. Just keep doing that. That is already in itself a thing. Just because capitalism doesn't value that, I don't fucking pick my values from capitalism to begin with.
Right.
Right?
That's like I was in an argument with some dude on on Reddit because he follows me around and he's always downvoting my stuff and like he always comments about how cringe my videos are, and it's like, dude, you love me, like you follow me around. But he has to come out and he has to like try to attack my job first because he thinks that I'm a food delivery person still. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I was
There's
gonna
no
say, and what the fuck? I would be like, okay, and
then he goes,
What
oh,
matters?
but you're
He
you're
cares
just a
about class.
yeah, exactly. He cares about class.
Ah.
Oh, you're just a failure. What do you mean I'm a failure? Like, what does that even mean? I don't adhere to your mainstream views of fucking success and failure.
Here's what I do. I do the exact opposite. You're correct, and I'm happy to be a failure because
Right.
I am happy to fail in a system that I find is sick and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And if I fail in that system, I'm fucking doing good. I don't want to be a success in your system. I tell them all the time. They go, because they told me, Damien, you gotta cut your beard off, or at least not have it red. No, people are not gonna. It's too extreme. You're too, and don't say you're this, and don't do this, and don't tell people you're intersex, and every other fucking thing in the world. And they would always say, because you'll never be a success. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I'm just gonna be me. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about all that bullshit.
I'm sorry. Did you think I was a fucking capitalist?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
Yeah.
Your measure of success does not bother me.
Like, do you really think that threatening an anti-capitalist with loss of capitalism? I'm not thinking an anti-capitalist gives much of a fuck.
Yeah,
their
that's
own
right.
well-being or the well-being of their loved ones, and also care about society. But yeah, they're just like I'm not anti making money. I want to. I have 240 art that's going in the book. I finally I'm like at the last two. I said
Okay.
that one. Do you see that?
Yeah. I do look at everything that you send me.
Well,
I don't always read the depth of it, but I do look at it.
But the last one I sent you, it's pictures. I haven't done the art yet, and I said I'm gonna do the art. That's actually like the Ankh symbol. People don't realize that actually was originally like a tampon or something, a rag or whatever, menstrual rag, or call it. That's what it was. Probably from a virgin. Probably the first period, and her actual period blood to make that red, and then the kings would wear it as a protection, and then it became a knot, and even samurai would wear this knot, and it's like an ISIS knot, or they don't call it that, of course, in Japan, but that's what the fuck it is. It's the same shit. It's just a different culture. China does it too. They do it a little bit different, but same shit. They call it and some people call it a Buddhist knot, or they call it a swastika knot. Same thing, and it relates to the sun, and it relates to a deity. Yeah, I know. It goes all the way back to Iana. That's what that picture, 5,000, 4,500? I think maybe it's, or 5,000, can't remember. But it started out, it looks like a little round circle with just like one thing sticking down, and they would put that next to you on both sides. That one other picture is on each side of a temple. I know it looks like a vagina. Not an accident. Probably is. And then the two sides are probably even like labia or something, but that's not all they mean. One is a sun, a big sun, like the noon, and then the dying sun, which I talk about the Trinity. Or it's the moon. It's the beginning crescent. It's the vagina would be the full moon, or a baby, a mother, and a clone. It's all the same shit. It's just keeps repeating. But anyways, but it relates to a goddess, but that's the Ankh symbol. All these people are African, pro-African. I'm like, first off, that's from China. So and then the other stuff Egypt does is either from two places, big time, and that is either from Turkey, or it's from the Sumerians. So either you got some of the stuff from the Sumerians, some of the stuff from Turkey, you know. Then you got some of the stuff from the Sahara. But those people had stuff from the Magdalenian, who were the Europeans that did the first writing. That's why there's, anyways. But so I always laugh. Anyways, I know what it is. I always think Africans. You want to play Africa? Just do animism. That is the only thing that's African only, and it is African only. So yeah, you should want to be that, and it's cool as fuck, anyways.
Right? Yeah.
The cultures are awesome. But yeah, but I was just saying, but so people understand that it's basically something that they wear, they think is so great. It's like wearing a tampon around their neck, a sacred.
Okay.
Tampon. That's what it really is. It's like a sacred tampon, done by probably originally was by, I told you, probably a virgin on her first period. Because then it would be the most sacred and special because it's only a one-time event, and whatever.
Right.
Once again, I don't believe that. I'm just saying nonsense, obviously, but I'm just saying.
But it's interesting.
That's the thing you're holding it on your neck. Yeah, that you think is pro-African. Okay, it's about a goddess, and because I've heard some people say like the whole could mean a vagina. It could. I don't know that. But I do know the whole thing has to do with the vagina, anyways, and the fact that it was
right.
It's the cloth that they would touch with blood. And that's why on this picture I sent the second time, I showed a king because I realized, I didn't make that explained enough. The kings would wear that in battle as a protected. And then like I said, there's a thing at the bottom I haven't explained. It's from Japan. But, the samurai wore that for the exact same reason. They would protect them. But... And then all the other knots are protection knots, and I'm just trying to say, and they're almost all red. And then there's that goddess from India down there. It's also red.
Right.
Shocker. It all relates to the same shit. And then the Indians wear this red string around their wrist, and that's actually the same thing as the Egyptians.
Okay.
It's all the fucking same. That's what I'm trying to show in that meme. And it's also trying to explain to people that when I think of religion and when everyone else thinks of religion, you guys see it as all separate, and I'm like, they're all like similar related cults.
Right, it's all the same, really.
Yeah, I'm like, way more connected. Like it's connected. I'm like, yeah, way more than you think.
Right.
But also it did synergism, where they would hit each other for whatever, sometimes political or violent reasons or whatever. And they would share ideas, and so they do sound similar, or they would take over each other, and so then the ideas get moved around. That happened too. That's why they sound similar. But like I said originally, 7,000 years ago is where all the religions of the world come from.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, whether it's totemism, except animism, but totemism and shamanism are older. But the version is what I'm trying to say. The version is about 12,000 or 14,000 years old, shamanism.
Okay.
It got spread everywhere. So it's not that, even though it's 30,000 it starts, but the version, in a sense, everyone, especially like in North still today, that's actually not 30,000. That would be the version that's lower, like 14 or 12 or something, or even a little bit lower. But so, I mean, I understand all this. It makes a big difference, man. You look
for sure.
So all this stuff is different. And like totemism in Africa, like South Africa didn't get totemism until 1,000 years ago.
Okay.
Where our anthropologists always thought that was the homeland. I'm like, no.
Right. Huh.
North Africa originally, then West Africa. Then from West Africa, the Bantu expansion went all the way down to South Africa. Became the Zulu in South Africa, the people
Okay.
are the original totemists. And like, yeah, they've only been there maybe 500 years as Zulu. So that's impossible.
Right.
Once
Okay.
again, I know that's what people understand too. Is I know DNA. I've studied culture and a whole world. Like don't even anywhere like Malaysia. I'm like, yeah, I know about that too. Hmm. They have some Malaysian caves. It was about I think 16,000 or 22,000 years. They have people were down there. But obviously, I got like boom, 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 boom. I know everywhere. But that's why to me, it's hard for me to talk to people about religion because they're not even on the same level as me.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I understand. It was like it's like you as an anarchist, anti-capitalist, trying to talk to this little capitalist person that doesn't understand anything.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay,
Oh,
I know too much and I don't even know how to start with you.
but that's how I feel. That's why but I even try
Yeah.
to make a meme to make it simple. That it's all these things. But then someone said to me, "But we're supposed to just trust you, Damien," and I'm like, "Just go look at the memes, and
Like
then go
what
look
else?
at the blogs that I write about the memes." And
Yeah.
then realize you can totally trust me. And if you
Yeah.
don't, always could check. And I also put references on tons of them. But also,
Right.
you ever heard me explain it? Or go look at the archaeologists that also like and share my stuff. I mean, it's like, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you understand because I want you to be more informed, dude. Because religion is wrong in a way people don't grasp. It's
Yeah.
way, and it also here's another thing to be humble, which I'm also going to talk about in my book that because I realize they're all connected, it is also wrong to be so bigoted against the different.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cause
it's like
because your bigotry is aimed at your own
yeah,
ideas,
like
really.
dude, that's actually where your shit comes from. All of
Yeah.
it, everybody's. So Native American, like people in the Aztecs and the Christians are actually not as far off as they think. I don't
Right.
know. I don't
Right.
know if it's like 8 or 10 or 15 levels away from each other, cultures away or whatever, but it's it's not so far as they think the connection. I mean, it's crazy
Yeah.
because the Aztecs religion, all that happened about 5 or 6 thousand, sorry, 6,000. They came down. The Nadain, all the Nadain speakers, that's all
Okay.
went. Mexico, all South America, all the ones that were the Incas, everything violent, pagan, yeah, came in after 12,000. Came in at 6,000.
Okay. Jeez.
Yep, they went and murdered their way down. In fact, I gave that one thing, and it shows the whole coast of California was nothing but war and violence. It was massacres for 5,000.
Right.
It started at 5,000, massive massacre wars, huge wars, killing people, natives killing natives, and it's those new people coming in.
Hmm.
They became the old copper culture in the Great Lakes,
Okay.
and then they also became all the mound builders. Every single one is related to them. Every single mound building culture, whether it's in Florida, whether it's in Louisiana, doesn't make any fucking difference. It's
All comes from
all
that.
yes. Yeah.
Wow.
There may be a few that were a little bit before it came in before because there's some that came at I think at 9 or 10,000. But the problem is the Dane maybe came in from 10,000 to like 4,000 or 5,000. So they know for sure. I think it looks like the big amount of it because it could also been a couple clans, and then a big amount of them came. You know what I'm saying? At six
Right.
thousand. So like a whole war party or something must have come over. A bunch of people. But anyway, so yeah, but it all, dude, it all matters. So anyways, my point is, so it's all connected. It's everyone thinks that like like the somehow the Native American. There's some that are older, but they think every Native American is somehow on this oldest 50,000 years of religion or something. It's like no, that's not true,
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's not quite that.
dude. But the ones in the Canadian North only been 1,000 years.
Right.
They're more colonists actually than any other native tribe. But then again, they were the family where they came from. They're still the twig or whatever. They're actually still on both sides anyway. So We're borders, not them.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they already were kind of here, but they did actually kill their way through, and they had the Mongol bows, the compound bows.
Oh,
They
okay.
had different tools. They had compound bows. They had different boats.
Wow.
They did figurines. But yeah, they killed about 90%.
Holy shit.
Yeah, massive massacre. That's another thing people don't realize is that the natives also did some massive massacres. And it wasn't
Right,
just
right.
white people.
Yeah.
Fucking being an asshole and killing people, it is a universal fucking problem.
Yeah, yeah. It's not culturally specific.
No. But anyways, I can keep talking to you forever. I don't want
Yeah, I better get going here.
I don't want to keep holding you. But
I'll
I enjoy talking to you.
yeah, for sure. I enjoy it. I will send this to you right away as soon
Right
as
on.
I've got it, and then
Cool.
yeah,
Appreciate it,
talk to you
man.
again.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheist can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.